All right, we're back. So, I'll give a little update on the convertible over there. But first, we had a pretty rough, like 2 weeks. We lost one of our dogs, Eloise. Then we went to St. Thomas and got married. That was planned. It wasn't just a spur of the moment thing. And then we got back and the next morning started our drag and drive event in Southeast Street Meet, which went pretty well. If you were there, chime in the comments and tell everybody how awesome it was. But while I was out of the country and while we were running the event, I had a boatload of messages asking, what's going on with the car? And I said, nothing. So I'll show you what we've been doing. Anyway, let's have at it. So, a lot has changed, done a lot since last video I put on. So we got rear bumper. I picked that up this morning from Brandon. He painted it all up for us. And then I got Justin and I got so this is, I don't know, I never really made any videos about this. So like, I'll show y'all because if you're ever interested in doing this, it's a little harder than it looks, but it's cool. So, Matt at Performance Fab made this bolting aluminum piece that bolts from quarter to quarter and then has some supports right here throughout the middle. And then we sunk those little quick latch mini things in here for the deck lid. So a bunch of companies make, or like a lot of fabricators weld a piece in here and whatnot, but the car was already painted when we did this. This is before the car got pulled apart. So he made this cool little piece, put the little quick latch minis in here, then took a Shonik carbon fiber deck lid for a Fox body and sectioned it, right? So I cut, and then cut the back end of it off. So we bolted that on to this little bracket, which creates a solid mounting point for the wing. So this is a carbon wing from Caustic Designs and Tin Soldiers. This is actually, this thing's really solid. Like, I don't know if you could tell, but like the whole car's shaking. Anyway, so that's how we did this, right? So if you ever want to do this. Also, this is a convertible, so it has hinges here, not like your typical coupe hinges. So that's why we still have a fold open carbon fiber deck lid. It's pretty cool. This was on here before, but I just put it all back together. So the deck lid's on, the wing is on, and then a change for this year is we swapped over to Simpson chutes. Very high quality, like them a lot. Really, really, really easy to pack. If you're interested in a set of Simpson chutes, let me know. We're a dealer. Stopping your ass since 1959. Huh, that's funny. So anyway, they're air launchers. I ordered up some new clamps for to hold the cables. So the clamps that I had were too big, so whatever. Anyway, Hammer Concepts, it's like his kit for the dual chutes, and then Matt at Performance Fab fabricated it all up. So it slips in here, there's the chute holder, and then we made another little support here for the wing, and then underneath of here is the hitch, a little mini hitch hole. So anyway, that's what's going on with the back of the car. Actually got it down to ride height so it doesn't look like a tractor. It sits pretty low, really happy with it. Interior wise, we got a lot more done. Carbon's in the back here. Picked up, I think it was Monday, Monday or Tuesday, picked up the titanium trans tunnel panels. So I left 2 of them out. So these are quickly removable, right? So there's like 3 Zeus fasteners here, or 4, 5, whatever. 5 Zeus fasteners. And then it's like a tongue and groove. Matt made this like pretty slick little tongue and groove setup. So like the other panel kind of sandwiches around this. So when the dash is on, the dash sits to like here. So you can't like get up in here real well when the dash is on. So he made it like a tongue and groove, so it's nice and easy to just take these out and then slide it out. Top is also removable. So there's 3 Zeus fasteners there. If you notice, there's a gold coating. Kind of hard to see. It's gold. So what that coating is Jake Tinsley at Tinsley Custom Coatings. He did all the coating work on this car. Everything that you see, he did all of it. Killer job. And not every powder coater is the same. So I highly recommend, no matter where you're at in the country, to reach out to Jake Tinsley at Tinsley's Custom Coatings. He's in Easley, South Carolina. Awesome guy, and he knows what he's doing. We've had quite a few customers from all over the country who have had subpar work done. They have taken the stuff off, shipped it down to him. He fixes it all, and it holds up very, very well. So I don't know if it's prep work. I don't know. I don't know how to powder coat anything, so I'm not going to talk like I do. So just call him, send him a message. If you can't get a hold of him, get a hold of me, and I'll get you in touch with him, whatever. He's awesome at it. So that gold coating is a thermal heat barrier coating that you use on top of pistons. So I brought it up to Jake and I was like, hey, the transmission tunnel is going to be hot because it's all titanium and I'm not going to carpet it. What can we do? So we got to thinking, and he was like, oh, I don't know. And we talked back and forth because he did all the thermal coating on this stuff up here. Like, so the headers, the turbo kit, all that stuff. Jake did all of that, the radiator. He did all of it. He's like, man, I think I got an idea. So what that is that's a pro stock piston coating. Well, it's a piston coating for anything, but I think it's good for like, I want to say like 600 or 700 degrees or something, like direct flame of like 1,000 or something. I don't know. Sustained use at like 1,000 degrees, something like that. It reflects heat. So what he did was he got it, he coated one of these panels, he coated like a mock-up panel in this shop and pointed a heat gun at it for like, I don't know, a couple minutes, viewed it, like watched it, like, you know, recorded all this. And there was an 80% temperature difference from the panel side that wasn't coated, like the outside, versus where the heat was getting hit. And then versus, like he tested a coated panel and a non-coated panel. So it was like, either way, what I'm getting at is it was a substantial difference in heat. So I'm hoping that because this entire tunnel, the top of that, this, both sides of this, both of them, the bottom of these, they're all coated. I'm hoping that it tries to keep a little bit of heat out of this thing because these cars turn into hot boxes when you're driving down the road. So anyway, I was pretty jazzed about that. Came out really good. We got the motion shifter in the car. I talked to Dalton today, ordered up another button mount, and I'm going to try to do, I'll cover what my plans are with that. So got the Motion Raceworks dual air cylinder, dual chute cable deal all in the car. So we ran this before, works awesome. Very big fan of it. So got new chute cables. We just put all new everything in it. We're triggering it with a Mac valve right there. So both of the Mac valves here. Since I'm kind of known for doing techie stuff, I'll show you guys everything, little details. So this one is for the shifter, and then this one is for the chute release. So the way this is plumbed is it just kind of comes in here, shares plumbing here, that's why it's upside down. And then, you know, down, up, going to them. Shortest hoses, the best, in my opinion. So that's what we did. Plus they're easy to get to in the seats in the car because the seat doesn't come back until like, I don't know, here, there we go. Like there's like that much room. You could fit your whole arm up in here to get to it. Same thing with the battery's in the car. Got a Motion Raceworks CO2 bottle. And then we're probably gonna sell these as a kit. I probably need to. This is a shut-off valve. So this is triggered by the ECU. So when you press the master enable button on the PDM, it'll turn this on, which will allow the flow of CO2 out of this through here into this dual pressure output regulator. So this side here is 250 pounds. This side over here is 150 pounds. Their stickers suck, but whatever. Just wiped right off. But anyway, so 150 pounds. And again, you can, they're adjustable, but you have to remove this detent here, which I like this as opposed to having a knob here that you could bump. So you just back this detent off and then you can adjust it. So, you know, I'll put a pressure gauge in line here, set this one. I'll set the boost control and the chute release and the shifter all at about 100 PSI. And then we'll set the chutes at 200 PSI. So So yeah, I like this. We're probably gonna just sell like a whole little kit, you know, like, and if you want to ball out, you can add a pressure transducer to it or a gauge or whatever. So these parts are like kind of hard to find and source and know what you need. So there might be some benefit there to sell them as a kit. Anyway, full spectrum power battery. The best lithium batteries on the market, in my opinion. Got that in the car. Made all the battery cables today. We've got 2 of our contactors in here. So there's one of them, and then there's the other. Oops, there's the other one. So the reason for the 2 contactors is to segregate the alternator and have the alternator lead. When you hit the kill switch, the alternator lead is dead at the alternator. So it's more of a safety thing. You don't have to use 2 if you have an alternator, but we have some diagrams on our website to explain it. So if you whatever, go on our website, buy them, don't buy them, just look at the diagrams, whatever you want to do. But yeah, anyway, we're using 2 of them in this car. Something else that I figured out the other day, this is a Turbo 400, and I bought a low car, what they call direct mount dipstick for a Turbo 400, okay? And what that means is it gives you this little stub that you pull out right here, and you have to put a funnel in and whatnot. Well, I fill transmission fluid different than most, I guess. And I like having a dipstick, a reasonably tall dipstick. So what I did was I bought 5, well, I called Locar, and the guy that I talked to was worthless. He basically told me that, like, no, what I want doesn't exist. But I remember putting one in a car with a 4L80, and it had this little flexible section, and then it had a long dipstick that went into here. Dug around and found that Locar makes a 4L80 direct mount. And he tells you, the guy I talked to on the phone said, well, the marking on the stick is wrong, which I don't care about. And the nut that goes underneath in the pan is wrong, and all this is wrong, and it's not gonna work. Anyway, 4L80 direct mount dipstick from Locar. It's their Anchor Tight series, so like you have to, there you go. So if you've got a double frame rail car, that thing's pretty sweet. The reason why that's sweet is because when you go to put transmission fluid in this thing, you can lock a dipstick or a funnel into here, and you can overfill your transmission, and it doesn't spill everywhere because you have this much height. So I wind up filling the transmission a lot different than most people. I overfill it, and then it spits out whatever it don't want through that vent. Go ahead, get in the comments, tell me how I'm wrong. I don't care. I won't have the problem of being low on fluid anymore. So, needless to say, Locar 4L80 dipstick. It works in Turbo 400, and if it's a direct mount, little stubby guy, pretty sweet. It's like 7.5 inches, 8 inches tall. That was a good deal. So, we've got the lockup solenoids, lockup pressure, all the fun stuff from Rife, all Rife sensors on this car, Rife trans temp, yada yada, all the good sensors, right? Over there is the Rife gear position setup, so we can use that to engage a whole bunch of different cool stuff. And then we've got some bulkheads in the car, so we're able to reuse the coil bulkheads in the same coil harnesses. They landed in the car the way that they're supposed to. They're all tucked up in here and hidden. Coils are mounted, Maven mounts. MSD Pro 600 high output coils. The mounts, if you want to buy these from Maven or us, we're a dealer for them. Just kind of notate that they're the high output coils, not the older style coils, if that's what you have. So, fire system is plumbed. There's a nozzle here, another nozzle over there, the blue guy. There's some nozzles, a bunch of nozzles in the car. Because the number one concern with fire is to make sure that the driver can get out. If the car burns to the ground, but the driver gets out, it's still an okay day. Yeah, the car burned to the ground, but the driver's okay. And that's all that really matters. So I know we all think like, no, the car needs to be saved. It's like, well, sure, it'd be great, but the number one concern is to get the driver out of the car. So finished up all the plumbing, finished up the engine harness. So there's our engine harness, bulkhead connector. There she is, Auto Sport, 55 pin. That's gonna clicky right there. We've got the Mad Racing EGT bulkheads in. We've got a bulkhead in here for the air jacks. There's the air jacks, they're in. And then we got another bulkhead right here for the brakes, for the brake lines. And puke tank. We have 2 puke tanks in this thing. No, I don't have a puke tank in the trunk with a big steam port coming out the back like every other Pro Mod. We got these little guys. They hold about, I think, like 2.5 quarts or 3 quarts each. So I think we'll be fine. This is what we've always had in the car. Jake, I got to send these over to you. Have you coat them because they're ugly. So, and we've got some little CO2 bulkheads right here. Something I missed to show y'all. Boost control solenoids. So everybody please get in the comments and tell me how I'm wrong and it's not going to work and I'm an idiot and blah, blah, blah. There's my boost control solenoids. Yes, I know that they're zip tied there. They're zip tied there intentionally. In case there's a problem, I can cut them off and change them and it's really easy to access. But they're in the car. So everybody's going to say, well, it's too far away and they need to be close. And well, I've probably tuned and worked on more turbo cars than you. So I put them here. And then we've got a Rife back pressure canister that I use for dome pressure. It puts the dome pressure sensor inside the car. Well, man, what the heck are you doing? You're going to make the circuit length so long. Well, what do you think this is doing? It's making it bigger too. So makes the system bigger. We've got bulkheads that come through here. Whoops. One for the trans vent. Because again, double frame rail with a mid plate, you have no way of getting anything up this way from the transmission. So pop the grommet right there. A bunch of wiring and stuff is going to go through this grommet as well. So that hole's fixing to get full. So the trans vent line comes up here, hits here, and vents right here into this can. So it shares the same can. All right. We've got a Rife shock travel sensor in the back. Fix the toe problem. If you have a Fox body Mustang and you use an 11.5-inch arm, 11.5-inch A-arm from Racecraft, just know that you need to cut down your Pinto steering rack a little bit. So just don't freak out if like the wheels are all towed out and you're like, what the hell? I had a 12-inch arm on it. We didn't have problems. I had to trim down the A-arms a little bit. So engine harness is all done. I think I covered over that, like some of it in the video I made, last video I made. 24 injectors still, all sequential, all individually controlled, the whole 9 yards. Had to move the fuel pressure regulator. Here's another fun hot topic that everybody gets all bent out of the shape about on the internets. And that is, why don't you have a Y and you're feeding the rails independently and blah, blah, blah. Because I'm not. So there's that. This is the feed line, comes up from the back where the pump is, comes from the pump and the filter. And then it goes right there, and then comes over here, and then hits this regulator. And then here's my return line. So the only way that this works well with a high horsepower alcohol combo is if you've got extremely adequate pump size. If you are an inadequate pump guy, don't do this. This has got a, I have to talk to Chris and ask him from Cam Performance what size this pump is. I think it's 23 gallon per minute, but needless to say, we've got plenty of pump. We've got more pump than we need, so this is sufficient. I've never had an issue where one hole was hot or cold or whatever. Like, if anything, number 8 would be my problem where I used to have it, right? So like it used to be back there, the regulator, and number 8 was never the issue. So anyway, that's in here. We're doing something a little different. I'm monitoring coolant temp. I'm gonna monitor coolant temp from right here, which is the upper radiator hose, like right here. So here's my upper radiator hose, but I'm monitoring it as it comes out of the head, and we're also gonna monitor it as it's going into the block. So these are both Rife sensors. I'm interested to see how much heat is generated from here to the head. So the water has to go in the engine, through the block, through the heads, and then back out of the heads, through here, back to the radiator. So I didn't want to grab it from the radiator like I've always had in the past. I wanted to see that this should be the coldest point right here, and then this should be the warmest point. It'll give me 2 data points to see how much heat is being generated by the engine. So, and then it'll also tell us how well the radiator is actually working. So you don't need it, but I figured I might as well, We've got, so I don't know if this was all done. It wasn't all done, I don't think, in the last video. These dual seal clamps from Motion, you can see a common theme. I plug Motion a lot, and the guys over there are great. But these dual seal clamps from Motion Raceworks are, in my opinion, the best dual seal setup out there. And the reason being, the reason why I think that they're the best is that it's 3 sides, 3 pieces. 1, 2, 3. It's 3 sections. These are so much damn easier to put on. So if you pull this pin, when you're putting this on, what I do, because these things, these inner collars in here are always a pain when they're all greased up. But what you can do is with one hand, you can literally just clock it a little bit with one of the 3rd sections, and then work to the 2nd section, work its way in there, right? And if it gets a little bit out of alignment, you can realign it. And there, like right there, it's a little bit out of alignment, right? Hold on, whoops. Sorry, it's hard to do with one hand. It's a little bit out of alignment. I don't want to see. And then boom, look at that. One hand, right? And it's not even my strong hand. So, boom, look at that. These are the best. I'll never fight with any of the other brands anymore. These are the best. So, got the HPT88s on there. I think I did all that in the last video. Switched over to some Landrum front springs from Racecraft, some lightweight springs from them. Plug wires are on, reused them from before. Cut the hole in the firewall for the throttle rod. Ooh, whoop-pow. You know, all the CO2 is plumbed, yada yada. All the plumbing is done on the entire car. So all done with either Brown & Miller or, you know, we're using push lock for a lot of stuff too, but Brown & Miller is what we used on everything else in here. So Brown & Miller AC line is basically, Earl stopped selling the Ultra Pro series. Brown & Miller's been around forever. Brown & Miller stuff is identical. The fittings are a little bit nicer, but you know, what can you do? All right, let me go over here, show you some other stuff over here. If you're still watching this video, more power to you, because that could be pretty boring. Yeah, we already talked about that. Yeah, there's my old puke, there's the old puke tank. This is a water puke tank over here. So if the radiator gets overfull and gets hot, it pukes, goes into here. Then there's nothing on this one, because if it pukes out of here, it's going to let this off and it's going to blast into the bottom of the fender, and it should spray all over the, you know, windshield and let you know, like, hey, there's a problem. So, let's see. The Camus pedal is in. It's all functioning. There's another one of the Lifeline 360 Novec system fire suppression nozzles. That bottle is right here. Right, a little 3 kilogram bottle. Here we go. Here we are. There she is. This is a great fire suppression system. Big fan of it. So, but I'm not in the business of selling fire suppression. I mean, we sell these. Like, if you're interested in buying them, I can help you out with them. But I'm not in the business of this, so I'm not going to get no pissing matches about this. I don't care. We've got new Simpson. I think these are the Platinum Series belts. Looked at a bunch of different seat belts, and I really like these because this, I can't really do it with one hand, but, well, you can, but it's not under tension. You throw this lever and it disconnects. So this lever is like got a lot of leverage. It's easy to disconnect. So if you're in a rush and you got to, bam, I like them. So it's not a rotary, you know, so a lot of them are rotary cam locks, and Simpson sells a rotary cam lock, and if you like the rotaries, go for it. But Josh and I talked about it, and he was like, man, I like that idea a lot more. So you can Velcro it to like your chest and just rip it off of you and jump out of the car. These little bars, these are for the window net from Cameron Johnson Race Cars. So they're nickel plated. Race Tech seat in the car. The other one goes over there. And I think that's it. Oh, the hitch is on here. So I'm gonna lay down instead of pulling the lift up, because the lift has been a pain in the ass lately. So here's the hitch. Now, the whole bottom of this car is going to be sealed off. There's panels that go in here that seal off everything. Whole bottom of the fuel cell, the whole 9 yards, right? It all goes to the back bumper, and it goes all the way up to, well, hold on, basically above the rear end housing. So, the hitch, so the way Matt built this is right here where my finger is a little hole for where the Zeus button will go. And then you can see the support brackets right here for it, right? And those aluminum panels fill in here, fill in here, but the middle panel is independent and it comes out by itself. So the hitch, you pull a pin here, you pull another pin here, and then that right there isn't pinned because the way this is built, right, should load this bar right here, but there's no pin. So the way this is built, this should pull down here, but it's up against a pin, so it won't, you know, it can't pull it off. So you pull 3 quick pins and we could drop the whole hitch, right? So the hardest part about it is just gonna be pulling the bumper back out of the way a little bit to be able to drop the hitch. So the hitch weighs like right at like, I think, I don't know, 14 pounds or something.